was scrolling through just YouTube, and in my recommendation there was a video uh, titled "This is why a lot of people have stopped playing Overwatch," and the video essentially focused on the main narrative that Overwatch as a game is rewarding bad players by making characters that feels like you're having a lot of impact when you're actually not, which makes it one unrewarding to go up against heroes that have high skill ceiling in lower elos, right? So why would you pick a high skill ceiling hero when you could pick this low skill ceiling hero and do better with it? And two, that it stifles progression and self-improvement. And I want to talk a little bit about that and have a discussion with you guys. Hello there, my beautiful and lovely gamers. As always, my name is Jonal. If you like this type of content, click the like button and drop a comment down below. It helps a lot against YouTube's algorithm, helps promote the video, helps make the channel healthy. So thank you guys so much. If you like this type of content, you want to see more Overwatch, including Valorant and other FPS stuff, subscribe to the channel, turn on bell notification. It would be absolutely amazing if we could hit 20,000 subscribers before the end of 2020, just to make this year just a tiny bit better for me. Outside of that, I think that we should really just start, and I would like to hear your opinion down in the comment section. I'm not saying that I'm correct, but I'm dragging from especially where he's talking a lot about improvement, where I have a lot of experience private coaching individuals, both anything from contenders and high elo, top 100 players, all the way down to bronze players that is brand new on a PC. And of course, if you want to improve, rank up, and get better again, you can always hire me as a private coach. It's 50 euros for a 2-hour session. Hit me up on a Discord server down below. Now, the core of this video, as I said, is that Overwatch is making bad players feel like they are good. And why is that? It's heroes like Mercy and Moira feels like they're having impact without actually doing anything. And the same thing goes with D.Va and Rein. Because a Moira, for example, can just heal. Just hold mouse 1 down and you spray out your healing dust and you start healing. You can throw damage orb and you will just do damage and get kills or get kill participation due to the way Overwatch works. If you do like a single point of damage and somebody else does the rest, you still get a point for getting the kill. You will get trash damage, as he says, because you're dropping damage orb in. You are focusing on with your right clicks and whatnot. And the same goes for Mercy. A good Mercy, and he does state that good players on these heroes, there are differences between a good support player and a bad support player on these heroes. But a good Mercy, for example, won't damage boost. She will just heal, and she will pop out a lot of healing, but she won't have that much impact on the game, but it will feel like they're having impact in the game. And this means that a bad player won't improve if they lose because it feels like they're doing everything correct. The same, he mentions D.Va. A good D.Va will use all his resources correctly and positioning and whatnot, but a bad D.Va will just hold down fire button, and it will look like you're doing some damage because you're getting damage ticks, but you're out of your effective range. You won't use Matrix to absorb stuff, and you have your booster to escape. If you're bad positioning, you will be rewarded by you can just escape with your boost, and you can just, if you get D-Mech, you have a second life, and you can play off that and get your new mech, meaning it doesn't really feel like if you don't die as a baby D.Va, especially it doesn't feel like you did something wrong, right? Because you didn't die, you stayed alive. Now, to a certain extent, what he's saying is correct. It does have for some people that effect. But for the people that have that effect, that I've talked with, that I've worked with, and also the people, before I started coaching, people that, some people that I worked with started in silver and gold in this game, and is now top 500, right? And that is not because, and they are not playing like high skill, like insane heroes. They're playing, tanks, and some of them are playing support players and whatnot. Some of them are our Mercy mains or Mercy one-tricks and Mercy players, and they didn't improve because, they understood that I'm losing, and I'm not having the amount of impact that I should have. How can I have more impact? And I've, on the other hand, coached Widowmaker players and Genji players and Tracer players, heroes that are built on high skill, that has felt like they are doing everything correctly because they're being rewarded. Because if you're playing Genji, you can dash into stuff, and you can pull Dragon Blade, and you can do a lot of damage, and then you can look very fancy while doing stuff. When you're playing Tracer, you do a lot of damage with the spread of her guns, even though there's so much skill in a Tracer player, it's incredibly easy to mag dump into into low elo players because they're strafing, they're not strafing, they're standing still, big hitboxes on certain tanks, right? And they're not punishing you, so you don't have to, the mechanics of a tracer play where you have to blink and move your, aim while you're blinking, doing rotations and doing, blink 180s, blink melee combos are not as important because the healing in lower elos are reduced by the enemy team. They're not healing as much as they're supposed to, and they're not paying as much attention, so it's much easier to punish. So you can do a lot of stuff on a tracer player without requiring the mechanical skill that you would need in a higher elo game, right? What a lot of people don't remember is that in high elos, people are really good at ducking and dodging and also pressuring you back. So it's you have to duck and dodge, and he has to duck and dodge, and you're both trying to be difficult to hit while still keeping your damage output up, which makes your accuracy and your aiming much more difficult. One, because you're shooting at a difficult target, and two, because you yourself can't just stand still and line up shots. You need to strafe, move, constantly duck stuff, think about positioning, think about where you're getting pressured. A lot of time you're pressured from multiple angles, and that is the difficulty of a high elo game. The same goes for Widowmaker players. In like gold and silver, Widows can stand, and in platinum as well, they will stand completely still, they won't move. And they will do that in high elos as well, but they will have far more movement to it because there's far more pressure on the map. In like silver and gold, a Widowmaker can stand still on the high ground for a very long time, and I'm talking like 30 seconds, not moving, just shooting at the enemy team, and sometimes hit the shots. And it feels rewarding. The amount of time that I've coached somebody, and I start commenting on the aim, I start showing, like a gold player or a platinum player, and I start like pointing out, oh yeah, you're missing here, we really need to work on your accuracy. And they say, and I've heard this so many times, oh yeah, I normally don't aim this badly. Like, I promise, bro. Like, normally I'm much better than this. And then they have follow-up sessions with me. And then I ask them, yeah, how do you feel this game? It's like, yeah, I think I was really on my ace, right? And their accuracy's the same. Because for most people, when they're playing games like this, a lot of them remember the dopamine highs of hitting those headshots, and it looks cooler, and you think it feels much cooler and feel much better and feel much more rewarding doing something cool. For most people, not all, but most people that I've coached, than not. So people always think they have much better aim than they actually do. The amount of time, like, I have literally had silver and gold players in my comment section complaining about my accuracy, saying they have so much better accuracy than me. Even when I'm playing like grandmaster games, and they have this fallacy that they think that their accuracy is like, dude, my aim is so much better than everybody, I'm so fucking insane. And then if you actually break it down, their accuracy, it's just where it's supposed to be. It's silver. It is quite below the average of your average aimer. So the fact that the notion that Overwatch core design is rewarding bad players, and that rewarding, or that feeling of you having impact, actually makes you not improve, in my opinion, is wrong. Because I do believe it's up to the individual player, not up to the individual hero that player is doing. A good player will understand, a player that wants to improve, that, oh, I'm not having impact, I'm not winning, how can I carry my team more? A bad player will blame their team and say, I did everything that I could, it's GG unlucky, I'll go and queue again, and they'll be stuck in their elo forever because they don't have self-improvement, right? And this is not like the hero design of Moira and Mercy, because I will need to address this. Where they are, again, the statement of, Moira and Mercy, for example, rewards bad players. In my opinion, this is also very, very wrong. Because what they're saying is that because Moira and Mercy does not require the same mechanical skill as a Zenyatta or an Ana or a Widowmaker or a Kree or a Tracer, they are low-skill noob heroes that gets rewarded far too much. And there have been instances of this. Like, during Mercy meta, definitely, Mercy had too much impact for the mechanical trade-off. That is completely true. Because at that point, she could rest like 2 to 3 players per fucking, in like a second. She could just get people back up again with her instant rest, and she was already healing and damaging and moving around. And that was too much impact when it required absolutely no brain pros, there was no game sense required. You just need to glide over, heal, and glide back. And glide, res, and glide back, I mean. And I'm not joking. I had a player a long time ago, like it's probably over a year ago. Context. When I do private coaching, I send people a form to fill out. This in, your name, where are you, what time zone are you in, so I know when to set up stuff, your age, just to make sure you're not underage, stuff like that. you kind of get the point. Essentially, like a little bit about yourself, about your competitive career, and one of them is what is your current rank and what was your peak. And this guy said peak was 4.3k. Current rank was, I think it was like 1,000 SR. He went from top 500 to like bronze, silver, elo. And I asked him, right, like how does that happen, right? And he said, Mercy meta. I played Mercy during Mercy meta, and as soon as Mercy got nerfed, I just fell. I fell hard because all of a sudden Mercy wasn't busted. I think that is a very rare case. But yes, there have been overtunement. Also, Break, for example, in a period was just way too busted for the skill required. She has too much stats, too much behind her. But in today's meta, for example, if you play Mercy, you can have some good impact. And Moira and Mercy players can have some good impact. However, you're trading off a lot compared to an Ana. And Ana can have so much more impact, especially in solo queue, in the form of how biotic nades work. A good Ana can heal, deal damage. Like, she can snipe Pharahs out of the air, kill stuff, do assisting. Like, she does a lot of damage per shot. She deals 70 damage for a bullet. She can anti-nade the entire enemy team, just cut off healing to one or multiple targets. She has a sleep, which is hard CC as a target if she can hit it. The mechanical skill of if you have an insane mechanical skill Ana, and you have a Mercy player next to that, the Ana will be far more rewarded for her mechanical trade-off. And the Mercy's mechanical skill is reliant on being able to do these Mercy boosts where you can kind of glide up mid into the air. So there's also mechanical trade-off, yes, but the impact of a Ana can a lot of time outweigh whatever you get from playing a chill Moira player. And if you're playing Moira Mercy, you normally do it for game sense. You're normally playing off game sense, and in my opinion, game sense is a valid thing. Not every single hero should be Widowmaker. We're not playing a sniper arena. And I think that, there is that trade-off where mechanical heroes should be rewarded if you are good mechanically, if you can pull off insane sleeps, insane nades, and, alternate between healing your team and quick scoping into the enemy team and dealing damage, you will have much more impact on an Ana, or a Zenyatta for that matter, right? A lot of damage if you have good accuracy on the Zenyatta. But at the same time, still allow heroes like Mercy and Moira, because they bring a different flavor to the game. You have less quote-unquote competitive impact especially when you're moving up against stronger opponents, because they will start consistently being able to shut you down and deal damage. But what you do have, however, is survivability and flexibility in the terms of movement, right? And that is kind of the trade-off in that area. You trade off your survivability and for some of your impact because of that mechanical skill. And I think that is completely viable way of looking at it. And again, this is not something that is isolated to Overwatch. The video paints it as if this is an Overwatch problem. If you look at League of Legends, difficult mechanical champions, or far more difficult mechanical champions, right? It's a MOBA, right? So it's very difficult to talk about mechanics, right? But there are mechanically difficult champions in League of Legends. And then there's something like Garen. Garen requires practically no mechanical skills whatsoever to use. He has a spin AoE attack, he has movement speed, and on top of that, he has a bunch of stats behind him that makes him somewhat, even if you get punished, for example, his passive will heal him up significantly faster. And that is Garen. However, there's a reason that if you can get a decent level with a Garen, but then later on, because Garen is Garen, there are just better and stronger top lane champions that you can use instead. That, yes, does require more skill, but at the same time also have far more impact in stuff like teamfight and has far more potential than what a Garen can bring to the table, right? It's the same with something like a Tracer comparatively to a Reaper, right? A Reaper is incredibly quote-unquote easy mechanically, but a Tracer or McCree player can very easily have far more impact because of their flexibility in how they're used in higher elos. So even though Reaper is is really strong stat block and sometimes can be abused on certain maps, on certain points, in certain situations, or by one trick by very certain players, right? The impact that you're bringing to the table compared to the flexibility of some other heroes, for example, the potential of a Widowmaker who can just headshot 2-3 players and immediately win the teamfight by just hitting headshots, by just playing around their shields, right? Or a Hanzo, is significantly more than the quote-unquote easiness of something like a Reaper. And the same goes for other like hardcore FPS games like Valorant or Counter-Strike, right? In Valorant, for example, you have ops, same in CS. These are noob crutches. Comparatively, if you play with a rifle, or you play with an op, the skill level goes significantly down if you pick up an op, right? You have one shot to the body. You can hold an angle. You just need to hold it there. They walk into it. They are magnified up, so they are easier to hit because you have a scope, and they fill your entire screen, right? So they're much easier to shoot, much easier to hit and pinpoint. And if you hit them to the body, you immediately one-shot them. While the other guy needs to headshot you with a rifle. There is no spray control needed with the op. It's a shot. You're done. You get the frag, right? The same goes with SMGs to a certain extent. Stuff like the Stinger in Valorant is if you play close with the Stinger, it's just you hold down the button and you just mag dump into him, and you can melt people incredibly fast. However, there's no flexibility in the Stinger, absolutely none. And same goes with shotgun. You play close angle with a shotgun where they're really, really good. If somebody walks into it, it doesn't require a lot of skill to take that guy down. You shoot in their general direction. You can a lot of times just one tap the guy if you have decent accuracy. However, the flexibility is not there of a rifle. And the op is the quote-unquote the biggest noob crutch in the game, right? You body shot, you immediately one-tap. It has potential for the flexibility of you can use it in close range, and you can also use it in long range, and anyway it will one-tap the guy, right? Compared to a rifle, which you have spray control and headshot range and all this kind of other stuff you need to think about while you're using it. However, an op is 4,500, a rifle is 2,900. You pay significantly more money to get the op. 1,600 more for an operator than what you will get if you just buy a rifle. So the economical impact of the op is limiting its viability from a play, right? Which does that, yes, it's a noob weapon, right? This is like if you don't have the accuracy to use a rifle, just use the op. But the fact that a bad opper, number one, won't be able to have the same impact as a good opper, right? Same as a bad mercy main won't have the same impact as a good mercy main, right? And the fact that the flexibility of the op can significantly limit it in lower elos because of the economic cost, and the same with a mercy, you will have a significantly less impact than certain other heroes if you pick mercy in Overwatch. And that's the important part. That yes, every game has their quote-unquote rewarding weapons that are quote-unquote easier to use, right? Easier to have impact on in lower elos, that you should use in lower elos, right? But the mechanical skill that is normally associated with most heroes in most games is outweighing that, and that's the balance of a video game. And that's why I don't think there's anything wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with having that again, not everything requires that you headshot everything or you're useless like a Widowmaker. Not every single game should require that. And instead, what it should do is that if you have that mechanical skill, that should be rewarded. That's why pre-nerf break, not the current break, but the pre-nerf break, when she was just released and was busted, or Mercy would, during Mercy Meta, where she could insta-ras, that was an issue for the community, because the amount of skill that was required was not traded off in the amount of impact you had on the game, compared to other heroes. But when that is balanced properly, like I think the meta currently is seemingly decently balanced, you have a lot of impact compared to the amount of skill you're putting out in the game. And I think that's a really nice trade-off. And there are, again, now we're not talking about professional meta and professional team play, because then team composition and how gameplay is played is a little bit different. Now we're talking mostly solo queue, which is the impact of the video is talking about. So that is my take on it. That's my take on rewarding bad players. And again, as I always find funny, is that a lot of people say that, mercy mains or whatever, they require so little skill and so on. But when you look upon lower elos, it's incredibly funny to see how low skill some of the enemy DPSs need because of the low game sense, bad positioning, bad movement, right? The low understanding of the game, so that people that play Widowmaker can stand still on a high ground, or stand still and just scope down without being pressured, and therefore line up really easy shots. So Widowmaker, which is one of the highest skill ceiling heroes in Overwatch by far, is actually rewarded a lot in lower elos because the enemy team doesn't have position, they don't duck LOS, they don't use the shield properly, or their tanks doesn't use, put up his shield properly, and nobody pressures the Widow. So he can stand uncontested and spend his time actually aiming and hitting these headshots, and a lot of time that actually makes a difference, on top of the fact that enemy will be standing still, making the shots easy. And it's only when you're actually pushing higher elos that you really notice the difference in how you get punished for this low mechanical skill on a Widowmaker. But that's all. I'll quit my rambling. Like and subscribe to the channel. Again, 20,000 would be amazing before the end of the year. If you want to rank up and improve the game, hit him up. It's 50 euros for a 2-hour session. Join the Discord server, which you join anyway, including following me on Twitter and Twitch. Again, drop in your comment section. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What's your thoughts on this topic? I find it to be, again, I personally find it that I don't like the fact that people are yelling at hero designs that doesn't require, Adderall level of aim. You don't need to be carefree to be a god on it. Therefore, it sucks and should never be in the game. I think that's a really dumb way of looking at video game design and video game balancing. As long as they do this trade-off between mechanical skill and direct impact of the game, I think then the balance of the game is good. As long as it's not something like a MOBA where game sense is actually king, far over straight mechanical and raw skills. But also rambling. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys very, very much. Please do stay safe out there. Take care of yourself. And as always, my name is Jonal. You guys keep the enemy in your crosshair.